Welcome, welcome to Alice Alicia Jones Spiritual and Past Life Readings. This is probably our 10th month in doing this. And today, before we start any readings, I wanted to review something with you that has happened to me again. This is the fourth time that I've experienced the same thing. And I know if I've experienced it, others are experiencing it. And it's very, very critical that we get to understand what is happening on to us on multiple levels. So, what I would like to do is talk to you about my experiences about walking between dimensions. And typically, what has happened to me is that I was accused of doing certain things, and or somebody else totally contradicted something I experienced. And then I just was astonished and became puzzled and didn't know exactly what was going on. But first time it happened was about 10 years ago. And the gal that came to Rays of Healing was a guru from India named Jivanjali. And after she came for 3 sessions, 3 weeks in a row, to the Rays of Healing church that I'm part of. And she was very pleasant, very nice. I was very glad to be part of the group that welcomed her. I was the associate lead minister at the time for the church. And afterwards, I found out 3 weeks later, even though the complaint had been lodged immediately, at that time, I wasn't checking my emails very frequently. And so as a result, I think 3 weeks went by when I picked up the email. And the list of accusations to me was immense. They claimed that I had been rude, not only to them, the assistants to Jivanjali, but also to Jivanjali herself. They also claimed that I held money from her. And we had, what we had offered her was we said, we will take the price of the rental of the church, which at that point was $75 a day. And so an evening. And so when I subtracted that, whatever was left over, we gave as a contribution to her for to do her work around the world. And they claimed that no, that she didn't get what she was promised and that I had deliberately held money from her. Needless to say, I was flabbergasted. And the gal that sent me an email was one of her devotees. And the thing that I was surprised at was the fact that when she sent the email, she said, "Alice, get a grip." And as I'm reading the email, I'm thinking, I have a grip. There's nothing here that I need to know. Everything that they're accusing me of, I did not do. So that's the long and short of it. Uh, so I just kind of, I didn't even address it. I figured I don't know what happened. By that time, they were long gone. They were back in another part of the world. And I wasn't about to start bringing up tit for tat. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? Wasn't going to do it. So anyway, then time number 2 comes in, and this time my husband gives me, who, usually gives me the, carte blanche when it comes to our social calendar. I knew that if I were gonna plan a dinner party at our house, I had to give him plenty of notice, which I did. So, what I did in his case was that I told him a month in advance. that I wanted the dinner party. Then I told him 2 weeks in advance, then I told him a week in advance, then I told him 2 days in advance what he had to buy for me. When we got to the 2 days in advance, he looked at me with utter panic in his eyes. He was horrified and unbelievably upset, and he said, "You never told me. You never told me we were gonna have a dinner party." Well, this time I recounted to him a month ago, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, 2 days. This is now 2 days before the party. I've given you 4 warnings. I gave you 3 earlier warnings and this one. But I saw by the way his face was contorted that he was in genuine pain. And I looked at him and I thought, "Oh my god, this is so sad." I didn't quite know what to make of it, but because I already had had the previous experience, I thought, "I'm just gonna let this go," and calmed him down and said, "Look, I'll cancel it if this is what you want." He, in the process of calming down, he, agreed to, uh, do what was necessary, and I felt, "Okay, great. I'll be able to continue, and have the dinner party as planned." The 3rd time happened about 3 years ago, and this is well, maybe in the neighborhood of 5 years ago, and this time, my sister and she was visiting my home, and she was going to give uh she was going to have a, uh well, she was going to come with me to Rays of Healing. And as we're going to the church, which was at that point anywhere between a half hour and 45-minute trip away, depending upon traffic and which route I took, I all of a sudden, I'm driving, she turns to me, looks at me, and said, out of the clear blue sky, goes, "Alice, your daughter despises you." And I kind of was stunned. I didn't know what to make of that. I couldn't say anything. I was just so choked up. Then within a minute or 2, she does the same thing, turns her head, looks at me and says, "Your son despises you." And by that time, we had almost gotten to the church, so there wasn't any time to, talk to her about what she meant about that. But, uh and I didn't have I was so shocked by her statements that I didn't even have it within me. uh, I didn't have the courage, I didn't want to confront her and everything, and so I called my younger sister the next day, and I said, "Do you think that's true? Do you think there's any merit to what they're saying?" I know occasionally my children and I have disagreements, but never to the point where I felt that they despised me. Um, my younger sister said, "I have no idea. Ask her what she meant." When I called her and asked her specifically what she meant, she says to me on the phone now, obviously she's back home. She says, "Alice, I never said that." And I go, "Oh my God." I back off and I realized now at this point, I realized this is time number 3 that this has happened. And so I just let it go because she said, "I never said that." And so I realized that something else is playing out here, that this is not a normal situation. Well, this happened just within the past month. I think this happened in early part of December. One of my cousins contacted me via email, and she's a cousin that is, about 10 years, I think, younger than I am. And she says to me that when I was a child, you told my mother that I would never amount to anything. And I am now, and then she lists all her attributes and she lists all the things that she has accomplished, including being a minister, including being able to see psychically, including being able to work with the David Kingdom, just like I do, working with fairies, working with the angelic realm. And so I profusely apologized. I sent her a copy of my book as kind of making an amends. And then afterwards, I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it and thought about it and realized I never said that. I'm not saying her mother didn't hear that. I'm saying I never said that. I never was able to give any kind of I had no recollection of ever talking to her mother. I saw her mother very infrequently. Was wrapped up in my own stuff, and there's no way that when I think back, that I could have made a statement like that. That's not the kind of person I was. Um, just no way. But again, I'm not saying that her mother didn't hear that. It's just that in my lexicon, in my experience, I never said that. So I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know that this is possible. And these kind of experience have nothing to do with the kind of experiences that narcissists try to put on you, where they try to get you to believe things that happened that did not happen because it's their interpretation. Or uh, I recommend that you watch, I think, a movie from, I believe it's 1939, called Gaslighting, and to understand the difference between narcissistic behavior. This has nothing to do with narcissism. This is simply two people experiencing different dimensions, or different people experiencing different dimensions. So I do want you to know that yes, this is totally possible. This does exist, but we do have a number of people waiting for past life. Um, so I'm going to tune into them, and we will start. Uh, and the first one was Erica Kirtan, and Erica wants a past life reading. And I also want to let you know that in the event I trigger something within you, you want more information on it, or any of you that aren't willing to do this publicly, you can always reach me through my website, AliciaJones.com. And if you want any information on my readings, I offer them in my home, I offer them at Sacred Circle, and I have clients virtually around the world. So I can work with anybody anywhere, um, and usually try to offer a reading to fit your schedule. But anyway, so Erica, I'm going to tune into you. Hmm. All right, this is what I see, and it took a while for this to come in. It didn't show up instantly. It's a I'm in a prairie setting. It feels like when the people were going across country and settling the West, and they were getting the homesteaders. They were getting plots of land, like 144 acres, just to show up, and they were uh, literally being led to areas that I think beyond Kansas. I think Oklahoma, uh, much further west. And I think this is after the Louisiana Purchase. So feels like 1800s to me. You're a little girl and you're with a group, mom and dad. I see a little boy, so brother. And there's something very disconsoling in you. And I am being given a glimpse of the life that you left, and it feels like you were in the middle of, um, Boston or someplace out west out east that, you just didn't want to leave, because you were very happy. You had a piano, which obviously you had to leave behind, and you did not want to come. I'm only seeing you at that age. I'm seeing nothing more than that. So, uh, but the sense I have with you is that you did resign yourself to the fact that your parents were not going back and that you had to continue to be part of this, what they kept saying, great adventure, and that you were uh, going to learn different skills. And I'm not sure that eventually you didn't find your way back east. I think as a young adult, you were determined to get back to a life that you had known as a child. And I'm positive that you found yourself back in a university. Boston has, at this point, has 100 of them. So they had one of the earliest universities in the United States, which I believe is Harvard. And so you absolutely valued education and you were going to just be, you were absolutely determined to get back to there. And I feel you found your way back. So in that case, you were very, very happy once you got back. You were just very tolerant during your life on the prairie. All right, Erica, let Karina know what any comments that you have about that. Next one is Christine Lindstrom. And Christine, let me tune into you. Hmm. All right, Christine. I saw multiple scenes from, I believe it's One Life. I don't think it's two. Uh, I see you as a minister, but it feels like the old country. It feels like possibly the English countryside, the Welsh countryside, um, and you were part of a small ministry, but yet you're very, very well cared for. I saw you again getting passage to the new world. I'm not exactly sure where you get the money because typically ministers did not make extra money. Uh, uh, I mean, they made enough to live on, certainly, and they were given uh, uh, a lovely parish, mostly. Some of them were not. Some of them were lived in very dark, dank, damp conditions. Um, but I felt that somehow, and it could be the patronage of the person who sponsored you, and the fact that you wanted to explore the new world. So you wanted to go to the new world. I see you in a place in the new world in a very similar setting, idyllic setting. So this could be like the eastern part of Pennsylvania in the mountains that resemble Wales. And, but you continue your ministry and you, but there's a certain amount of freedom that you feel here in the new world that you didn't have there. You felt more constricted personally, and you really wanted to experience that freedom. That's the emotion that I feel in you. You did not want to have anybody like telling you what it was that they liked or didn't like about what you did. You were always there, you were very helpful for people to people, but you kind of followed your own inner guidance on all the advice that you gave. And so to you, it almost felt like when somebody would evaluate you or something would get back to you about what you said or what you did that you didn't like, it almost felt like it was a slam against God. That's the way you interpreted it. And the way in the new world, you were able to be much more free with your preaching and your the and it just the air even felt different to you. So, anyway, hope that helps, and you can evaluate how that is showing up in your, life at this time, because usually the past lives that I do get are the lives that are impacting this lifetime, and so it could be that the quality of freedom is absolutely critical to what you pursue at this moment in time, to what makes you feel best about yourself. So, all right, Christine, thank you. And the next one is Karina Enfatule
No,
in
no, Karina Infante.
Infante.
Mhm.
Okay, Karina Infante, and Karina, she asks, what you're asking for is your purpose in this lifetime. And I'm going to tune into you and see what I can get. Hmm. Karina, the not sure this is going to answer your question, but the what I saw you in was like scrubs, and that you would be in a medical field and you were helping people give you were I don't think you were dispensing medical advice. You weren't like a nurse or a doctor. But the sense that I had with you is that you were assisting in an emergency operation and in operating rooms in general. And that the scrubs are they haven't changed much in over 100 years. So they're pretty easy to identify. But the there is a part of you that feels like I could do more. I could do more. I could do more. And but the more is related to education. So what you have to examine in your lifetime now is there something that I want to do that the only thing between me and doing it are some courses? Is it a degree? Is it uh, a full degree? Is it a graduate degree? Or do I want to become a doctor? Do I want to go through 8 years of training? What is it that you're after, that there is something to do with education? Because the sense that I have with you is that there's a tug, there's a pull, and there isn't a complete satisfaction with what you're doing. You know what you're doing is being done well, being done uh, to the best of your ability, but you just don't have that internal satisfaction. So you're going to have uh, to really examine that and see where you could take your life further if you gave yourself the right to go to school and get certification. And it could be IT. It could be that you just need some IT training. But anyway, I'd be very, very curious to see how that
There,
is impacting.
there are some answers. One is from Christine Lindstrom. She says, thank you. I've always had a strong intuition feeling. This is very helpful. Okay.
Excellent.
Erika Kirton say, I'm not sure. I am in search of knowledge all the time, not not so much education. I do a lot of studying and research and have a gift for it.
Excellent,
Okay.
excellent. And I think, from judging from the past, you could hear everything Karina said, so I won't repeat it, but, that's fantastic. All right, I'm gonna go on to, and this is Champagne, Cadengo,
Mhm.
and a spiritual reading. Champagne,
Yeah, Champaña. She's one of our um, followers. She has been with us all the time.
time, right,
Mhm.
right, okay. Okay, Champagne. We're going to, and you just want a spiritual reading. And let me tune into you. Okay, Champagne. There were several sensations in my body that I feel are important to you, and one of them is the solar plexus. Um, the and it felt like there was anxiety in your solar plexus. And so I absolutely recommend that you meditate on that and you find where it is that you your solar plexus is your personal will, your area of personal will, where it is that you feel you're being thwarted in that. And that's also related to your fifth chakra, which is your area of divine will. And so the third chakra and fifth are connected. There's a bridge of light that connects the two of them. And your fifth chakra, when I look at it, um, it's it feels as if there is a band around it, but it's multiple bands alternating with light. So light, dark, dark, light. So you, again, your fifth chakra uh, has a, it's almost as if you have that you're not following divine will, but because something in your personal will is holding you back. And it could be something as simple as, are they going to mock me? Are they going to laugh at me? Whoever the mysterious they are. Could be your family, could be your friends, could be your neighbors. Um, I have a wonderful saying. I go, uh, so many of us are bound to the fear of WWTNT. What will the neighbors think? And we just have to absolutely let go of any kind of constriction that holds us back from what others think. Pursue what it is that you, in your heart, know is right for you. Okay. Because along with the third chakra, I had a sensation of a constriction behind my heart too. So that would be your subconscious mind. And that would be like going after something that you absolutely desired, but did not, again, pursue completely. So it's you holding you back, and you really have to get more information on this, and you can get it from your own guides during meditation. I think that's all I'm going to be told about that. Uh, so because I really am not, I'm not seeing anything else. But anyway, thank you for again being here for us. And the next one is Andrea Duvarney.
Andre.
Andre, a gentleman.
Yes.
Okay, Andre Duvarney, Purpose in Life and Special Talents. And oh my God, this is interesting. As soon as I read the word special talents, I saw musical instruments, and I saw drums. I saw like a guitar. I saw a flute.
It's a woman.
Oh, it's a woman, Andrea. Okay. And then I also had the sense of songwriting. So I feel that that is a talent that is within you. Do If you like to write poetry, if you like to write in general, see if that can't translate into music, and see if that can't translate into something that will lead you to a place where you want to be. Um, you feel very right brained. You feel very strongly tied to the intuitive and to the spiritual realm. So, the sense that I have with you is that really nothing will be deprived you, but you have to choose a path and you have to stick with it. I don't know if you're a dabbler. I don't know if maybe you try something, let it go, try something, let it go, try something, let it go. It could be that that's what you've done in the past, and where if you just choose something, give it 100%, see it to fruition, see it to completion. So please don't give up on what it is that drives you to a place of personal satisfaction, personal happiness, no matter how outlandish it might feel to other people. Don't discuss it with others. This is something for you alone. Do not share your hopes, dreams, life path with others, because I feel that they're going to dissipate it or poo poo it or do something to kind of like thwart you and block you. And so don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. And hopefully, others that might be listening to this get the same message, because that's really, really critical. There are so many times where you get a hit that you want to do something, and somebody, could be one of your best friends, will say to you something like, what do you mean you think you're a healer, or that you think you can give readings, or you think you can be an artist, or you think you can make films, or whatever it is that's pushing you with that forward. Just don't pay attention. Listen to the dictates of your own heart. That's what's most important. Okay, Andrea. And where I'm meant to live the rest of my life, oh my God, they absolutely will not tell me that. That is something you're going to have to decide. And how you're going to know what's right for you is when you decide what the place is, the paths are all going to open. You're going to open a door and the path will be right there. It'll be clear and clearly, delineated in front of you. Um, there's not there's a very good way of understanding when there are blocks put in your path. This is not right. And it could be that it's just not right at this moment in time. So if you're on the West Coast and you're thinking about moving to the East Coast, you've already attempted it 3 times, but that doesn't mean you can't attempt it a fourth or a fifth or a sixth. See when the timing is right. Your higher self, that part of you that is connected to your personality self and connected to God, knows your future and knows exactly what timing is right for you. So please do not be feel thwarted when you do want to make a move, but you're going to get your own pushes to that. And how, like, let's say when I want to make a decision on something, I will ask for 3 types of validations. And it could be I'm going to hear it 3 times, I'm going to see it 3 times, I'm going to read it, somebody's going to speak to me. Um, so there's 3 times I'm going to get a validation for something. If it happens a fourth time, then oh my God, then I know, pay attention. This is really important. So anyway, you're gonna Andre, you're gonna get the same deal.
Andrew say, taking care of my mother these days. So many other things I love to do. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. And finally, when your obligation to your mother ends, then the world is just going to open up. There's going to be a whole new world for you. So, okay. And Charmian Howard Fletcher. Uh, okay. So her questions are, what should be my vocation? Where should I move? Richmond, Virginia, coastal Rhode Island, Middleburg, Virginia. Um, Charmian, let me tune into you and see if what answers I get. And also, I did want to remind you again, if sometimes the guides won't give me answers, and it's not meant to be a public forum. So you absolutely can reach me through www.aliciajones.com, and you can get my book there, Own Your Power, and you can get my any readings, any healings that you need. Um, okay, so Charmian Howard Fletcher. This is interesting, Charmian. It's like, where should I move to? Where I saw definitely, very distinctly, was Middleburg, Virginia. And there is, of course, that's the middle of horse country. So I'm going to presume that you have something to do with horses and that you love to work with them. There is the wife, and I think her first name is Sandra Johnson, the wife of the founder of the Black TV station, BETA, lives there, and she has a magnificent hotel. For some reason, that also showed up for you. So somehow you're to be contacting her and giving her your resume and seeing what she has available for you or how she could direct you. She's a very lovely person. Very much, she started the Middleburg Film Festival, and of course, she has like a writing. I'm not sure it's a writing academy, but I'm pretty sure there's horses that are trained on her property, and if they're not trained there, they're trained very close by. Um, what should be my vocation? All right. Anytime when I'm asked that question, Archangel Ariel steps in and basically asks three questions. What do you do that where time stands still for you? That, excuse me, there is no time. And you simply know that when you're in this space, that it is the most magnificent feeling of almost floating on this planet. Um, so you might be sitting, but you don't even feel the bottom of your chair. You might be standing, you might be walking, but you feel like you're floating. So, what do you do when time stands still? What do you do that makes your heart sing? And then the last question is it fun? Because if it's not fun, if you're seeing it as a drudgery, then there's something about it that you're going to have to change. You just cannot uh, have a joyful life if it's surrounded with pain. If you're doing nothing more but giving, 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 and you're not replenishing your own energy, something is wrong. It's that joy, it's that spontaneity, and it's that wanting to constantly have a, uh, a feeling of your success and your kind of fulfillment in what you're doing. Like I said, what I sense for you is something to do with horses. So you're going to have to take it from there. And anyway, thank you, Karina. Karina just gave me some water, which I obviously need. So, and Mary Wilson, is there a past life hindering from focusing on goals? Good question, Mary. Let me tune into you. Oh my God. This is not very pretty, but this happens often enough that it doesn't surprise me. Um, I saw you in some kind of very dark, dank, damp prison. And the sense that I had with you is that it wasn't political, it was religious, that there was a difference in religious beliefs. And frankly, it could have been both. Uh, I think there's more than one lifetime that you experienced this, but in both cases, you were very committed to a cause. You believed in what you were doing with your every ounce of your being. And you had such fervor that if you died, it was okay. The giving up your life for your cause was much more important to you than escaping your life. You really felt like you didn't have anything to live for without that cause. And so, in a sense, um, there is a part of you that tends to, and I'll just give you the words I'm hearing, tends to kind of be rigid and tends to want to stay in completely uh, inflexible, completely unchangeable from what it is that you want to pursue. So, and like I said, I think I tapped into two lifetimes uh, because they seemed like two jail cells, two different jail cells, but the conditions were the same: dark, dank, damp. And you also had a way of being there that was extremely uh, angry. You never gave up that indignation. You never uh, let that go. And for what you believed in, one of them, I think, was the French Revolution. And because the areas around the place I kind of see, uh, I'm pretty sure I'm in Paris, and so one of them was related to that. The other one that was related to religious causes could have been England. It could have been the Catholics versus the Protestants. Um, could have been Ireland. But anyway, they're one. It feels kind of like northern and not Europe anymore. I'm not in Europe. I feel like I'm in in one of in the Isle of the Great Britain. So anyway, but what you'll have to do is you'll have to examine any kind of inflexibility that you feel about listening to whatever intuitive hits that you get, and intuitive hits the from being guided in maybe a different direction. So, is there a rigidity that you feel for whatever reasons? It could be a tape playing in your head that you keep hearing. Oh, you can't do that. Oh no, that's not possible for you, and that could come from childhood. It could be your own a tape that you somehow or other picked up yourself, but there's like I said, rigidity and flexibility. There is those two characteristics that are kind of holding you back from exploring something new. Um, and the exploring something new, the sense that I have with you is if you would just start journaling, if you just start writing, your a whole field would open up for you. And in journaling, what I always tell my clients is to journal at the same time, in the same place, and for the same amount of time every single day, especially when you're starting to journal. And then I'll just give you a very quick technique about journaling that the first part of it I picked up from Julia Cameron from a book called The Artist's Way. She was the second wife of Martin Scorsese, and this is called Morning Pages because she asks that you do it first thing in the morning. You get out of bed, you roll out of bed, and you start writing. And you start writing anything that comes to your mind. And what she suggested is 180 pages, and then not reading any of them until 180 pages are complete, then sitting down and reading them. And being able to, in my estimation, determine what came into you from spirit versus what came into you through your own mind, through your own thinking. And so effectively give yourself the right to be there and I feel if you do it with a highlighter and you reread all 180 pages in one sitting, you're going to be able to hear the voice of spirit very, very clearly. Now, the next two parts to the journaling are two parts that I've done with my guides. Um, I continue in the same vein for the next month. So I did 2 months of morning pages. Then the next month, so in the third month, I start with question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. And in the question, I I will. It's not that I only ask yes or no questions. That's not necessary. You can ask. I know I started out very simply. What am I supposed to know today? What am I supposed to do today? And then listen for the answer. If the answer is a word, that's fine. If it's a sentence, that's fine. If it's a paragraph, that's fine. If it's a sensation, write that down. If it's a color, write that down. A feeling, a smell, write that down. And then at the end of a month, I know in my case, I would write a minimum of an hour a day, sometimes up to 3 hours a day. Most people don't have that luxury, but attempt to do this for at least 15 minutes and then go on from there. And then the last part of it is as you journal, so now you're in your fourth month and you're asking your questions, immediately ask who's talking when the answer starts coming in. So when you ask who's talking, write that down. I know there was one time where I got the word Phineas, and I thought, I don't know who Phineas is. I don't have a clue. So I Googled it, Phinnius or OUS. And I looked it up and through the internet, and it said a keeper of the Akashic records. So I thought, well, that's lovely. And then when I looked at the answer, yes, it was very much in keeping with what could have come from my Akashic records. The And so that's in that manner you're going to open yourself up to your guides. But anyway, I think Mary, that's it. And do I have one more? Okay. And I think we're going to end now. It's almost an hour. And this is a copy of my book, Own Your Power Day by Day. I have, you can purchase this on my website, Alicia, www.alicia, ALICJA, Jones.com. You can go if you want Reiki classes. I'm here for Reiki classes. I do live in Virginia, and we're going to be working on providing Reiki in video format so that you can purchase a video class because my classes do take a full 8-hour day. And so, but if you do want the readings, or healings, I can do distance healing. You can contact me further. Thank you so much. I look forward to next month.
We have more followers that we're waiting for the readings. I think next month we can take care of them. Or you can
Okay.
take care of them.
Right. All right. So this is for Laura and Papendek and Lucia Asi Alami.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mary Wilson.
Mary Wilson, I just did.
Okay.
Yeah. So Laura and Lucia, we will pick you up in February. We'll pick you up first. And it's going to be February, we said 13th.
In February.
Let's see. I think I had it down here that it's the second week in February. Yeah, it's the second week in February. So it would be the
10th.
the 10th, the 10th. And whatever is the second Monday in February. And we will pick you up first. So
Yeah, there are some answers from your followers. Mary Wilson say, "Thank you so much, Alice. I appreciate your direction on journaling." Um, Charmaine of Howard Fletcher say, "Can you post a rerun of this?" Yes, you can check the video later again.
Yes, all of these go on YouTube. And so even though this is um, Facebook Live, every single one of these is also on YouTube and on what, Instagram
Instagram, YouTube, and also in Facebook.
and Facebook.
And we also have other social media like LinkedIn and Twitter.
Right. And these videos will be on Twitter, no,
No, in
Instagram,
Facebook,
Facebook,
and YouTube.
and YouTube.
Mhm.
Instagram,
You
Facebook,
can check
and
again.
YouTube.
Yes.
So yes, absolutely. You can go through the rest. And especially in the beginning, I do an opening monologue. And what I did today was walking between dimensions, which was really kind of interesting. So be sure to check that out if you came in a little bit later. Thank you, and we will see you next month. Thank you so much. So.